even though for the exam, even the chapter test or the midterm final exam, I'm using either the true and false questions and also the multiple choices. But however, if you want to feel that you are really can do accounting job, you still need to do some entries. Once you understand the entry, then I think you're pretty good at the chapters. That's why for the class exercise, then I'm asking to do some very key practice. Okay. So we were in chapter 5 last week, and I will do a quick review, and we'll move further. Okay, for chapter 5, it's about merchandising. Okay. And merchandising and merchandiser, and there's another term, retailer. If you purchase something from the manufacturer, then sell to the merchandiser or the retailer, then you are in merchandising business. 如果你是从制造商 manufacturer， 然后买东西卖给批发商，我们这个wholesaler 就是批发商 ，retailer 这个两个字，麻烦要记一下哈。尤其 it's really related to your business field，OK？ 在那商业里面的批发是 wholesaler， 然后零售商是 retailer，OK？So actually, no matter you are wholesaler or no matter you are retailer, you buy something, then you sell something. So when you buy something or you purchase something, which means you have whatever you are selling, you have the cost. Okay, that's the difference between the merchandising business and also the service that one we were talking from chapter 1 to chapter 4. Okay, 买卖业的差别就在于你有买货品进来，然后这批货品一半被卖出去的话，就有所谓成本的问题。OK， 那过去我们在1到4章是服务业，服务业就是你在销售你的 service，OK， there's no cost， there's no cost， but there are several expenses，OK， 服务业只有费用没有成本 ，but for merchandising it needs both the cost and also the expenses，OK， that's the difference. Okay, so moving on for financial statement purpose, okay, since we have cost, so we have different stages. We have sales minus cost of goods sold. So we reach to the cost profit, gross profit. So that's something important. You need to focus in the gross profit because most of business actually are either merchandising or later on the manufacturer. Okay, when you decide to take the cost and managerial accounting, then you should know most of the business you are dealing with manufacturing industry. Okay, if you are in the manufacturing industry, you also have gross profit issue. Okay, 如果之后你去修成管会的话，我们就有所谓的一定的成本概念。那个时候一样，跟 merchandising 那个买卖业一样，我们都有毛利的问题。OK， 所以 be careful. The gross profit means the sales deduct the cost. The cost is only related to the goods itself. For example, you are making the monitor. Okay, if I'm the merchandiser, I purchase the monitor from someone else, then I sell it. So this is the cost of that for the goods, okay? But if I'm the manufacturer, okay, then I have to make the monitor. So they have several technology. We need to get a frame, we need to get a monitor, we need to get some chips or whatever, okay? So those are material. So during the processing or during the manufacturing, I only care about what are the material, who made this monitor, and its related expense. We call that overhead. It doesn't matter that this monitor finally will go to the shop. Then there's some also other expenses on the floor. I mean the shop. Okay, so related to the people who sells or who administrate the business. Those are expenses. But the people who make manufacturing the products and the related electronic utility, we call that cost. OK， 那这边请注意一下哈。虽然我猜你们大部分人都不会去修成管会，但是这边就给你们讲一个差别性。OK， 如果你是制造业的话，你要制造这个萤幕，然后它相关的材料，还有现场的工人哦，还有呢，那工厂下可能要水电费啊，或者是厂长的薪水，任何或者是那在工厂里面的保险费，那些都是叫做成本。OK， 它不是我这个财务报表的费用。OK， 知道吗？所以当我们讲 cost of goods sold is all about the product itself。OK， 所以你在讲毛利的时候，是在讲货品那个东西，不管是你生产或是不是你生产的，跟它相关的 cost。Okay, then when we move to expenses, it's okay you can sit in front too, if you don't mind. Too squeezy for two people, honestly. Or you want to move to there or here? I think you are such a big guys. You don't? You sure? Okay. So the expenses itself. So expenses actually are a little bit different. For example, the utility or the salary. Okay, if it's for the sales, if it's for the the company's management, those fees you spend out we call expenses. Okay, but when you are trying to buy something or manufacture something, any expenses related to products, we call that cost. OK， 只要跟成本相关所发出的薪水，我刚刚讲过，同样一笔就叫薪资。可是你在厂房里面生产产品的时候，那些工人的薪资啊，那些经理的薪资啊，那些厂长的薪资啊，或是那个厂房以下的所有水电费啊、保险费，那些都叫费用。但是它是为了要生产这个产品所出来的，我们称它为叫做成本。OK。但是如果东西拿出来去卖到现场，在公司有可能有行政人员要卖东西，会有销售人员啊，会有什么有一些佣金啊，这些东西为了要卖出去而产生的东西的钱，我们称之为叫费用。Okay, so next time if people asking what about the product's gross profit, then he is asking about the cost of the item itself. 是在问你，当你在问毛利的时候。他是在问你，请问一个售价买一杯珍珠奶茶60块钱，那珍珠奶茶的 bubble tea, the cups, the milk, the bubbles or the sugars, whatever making these bubble teas, then the cost of it. So 你可能应该说，the gross profit of the bubble tea should be if it's $60, then the gross profit might be $50 because we have it's really nothing, the cost itself. But why then later on, then how much the net profit for one bubble tea? 你卖一杯那个饮料，你到底赚多少钱 ？Then you have to think, the shop is located in a very hot area, and the rent per month is so expensive, and actually the hourly pay getting raised recently. So after that, my calculation, one bubble tea may be $60. The net profit is only about $10. 所以我有可能扣掉我的现场的很贵的租金，还有薪资，还等等等，我一杯的珍珠奶茶赚10块钱。但是 but my gross profit for bubble tea is $50. If the sales for one cup is $60. 这样知道它的 difference, so you know the difference between the gross profit and the net income, or what we call that net profit. OK， 那就是它差别。So only for merchandising and also the manufacturing, then we will have the gross profit issue. 买卖业跟制造业才会有毛利这个问题。But if you are in the service business, then you got nothing. I'm wondering why you two are just sitting there. You don't have anything.
Yeah.
You don't have, like the notebook, or you have download my PPT, whatever. You are not just coming here and sitting there and listening and spend the time without nothing. I assume you should bring up, download my PPT, or at least you have some notebook to write down some important notes. Okay. All right. So that's the gross profit. Okay. Then, so we're moving on. So, since the merchandising, you import, you purchase something, we call that inventory. So the quality, the features of the inventories is you buy in, you sell out. Okay. When you are not selling them, they are in your warehouse. We call that inventory. So the inventory management is also very important. So sometimes the difference between the inventory and the property, plant, and equipment is inventory is supposed to sell in the future. If you are buying a land, a parcel of land, actually that's for the investment someday, or for the purpose someday you want to use the land to build up a building or some plant, then those things we call that land. But if you are the realtor, okay, you buy the land and you intend to sell the land. So in that case, land is an inventory, not the land. Okay? Inventory, what is inventory? Let's see to the very end of the financial statement. I'll show you for the okay. Here is the example for Taiwan Semiconductor, a really big company. Okay, and this is a real balance sheet, financial statement. So for the balance sheet, then you can see, even though they are Chinese, but I can translate very easily here. It is current asset. We start with the cash, and we then following is a short-term investment item. Then we go to the accounts receivable. Then we move to inventory. So inventory is under the current assets, the item account. Then after inventory, for example, you have some prepaid insurance we learned from chapter 1 to 4, prepaid item. If you have any prepaid item, those are also the short-term asset, or we call the current asset. So in that case, you should know the inventory is under the balance sheet and is under the current asset. 我们讲了买进来的存货，它就是的之后你放在资产负债表里面的流动资产。OK， 流动资产。But the sequence under the current asset always start from the cash. Then depends on the liquidity in terms of becoming cash. Why starting from cash? Why the second, the following 3 or 4 items we use as short-term investment? For example, I buy stock. Okay, I buy security, and the reason I buy the security, the investment, because I intend to sell probably within 3 months, probably within 6 months. So actually, they are so easy to convert it to cash. So the liquidity is very high in terms of cash. 所以放在流动资产的顺序是有顺序，不是说你想乱放就放，它是依照你可以容易变成现金的顺序。如果你做了一个短期投资，买了股票 ，OK， 那你的目的是想3个月啊、6个月就要卖，所以 it's marketable so easily. So that's why it's under the sequence is under the cash. Then we have accounts receivable. Okay, normally the accounts receivable, the reason that because we have credit sale. But for the credit sale, normally you will not allow people pay you back more than 30 days. So which means they will convert to cash also very easily. Okay, so that's why the accounts receivable is next to the short-term investment. Okay, then we go to inventory here. Inventory, I just said, you buy something, you expect to sell, in the near future. Okay, but in terms of liquidity, it's less than the accounts receivable. That's why it's next to following the accounts receivable. 为什么存货会放在应收账款后面呢？因为应收账款通常它的信用交易的时间一定不会长过30天，所以它要把它变成现金的速度会比较快，变现性。OK，cash liquidity depends on the cash liquidity. We have the sequence for current asset. 好，这个注意，你学过财务报表的时候，将来你有一天去看财报表的时候，你一看，你要去找你要的资料的时候，你应该知道你是在哪个。When you need to get information, then you should know which category you can, get the ones. OK， 所以你应该知道存货是放在应收账款后面，因为存货也是哪一天你公司倒了，它要变现也是有速度的，但它的变现比应收账款来得慢，它的变现性比短期投资慢，因为呢，如果你要把你的股票卖掉，你不 care 你有赚有赔，它马上在市场上可以卖掉，所以它的变现性是也很高的。OK， so that's why let's understand why you put for current asset, the sequence start from cash, short-term investment, accounts receivable, inventory, or other prepaid items. Okay, so now you know the inventory. Okay, where it should be for the balance sheet. Okay, so we have inventory. So the differences between what is operating cycle? You spend money, you spend cash to purchase something. Then during the time you sell out the item. Then before you get when you really can get the cash, the whole period we call that operating cycle. So some company, for example, you are the supermarket, okay, and the operating cycle should be very short, okay. If you are selling the traditional, item like the furniture, something, normally it takes longer, almost probably 1 year to be sold, okay. Then if you are in the high technology industry, 高科技, for example, like the iPhone, then normally you can see that iPhone, they have new model every year, which means their operating cycle is supposedly to be shorter than 1 year. So it depends on operating cycle is different from the accounting cycle. Accounting cycle is doing that repeatedly. Is that you start from the, starting from the transaction, then you record it on your book, then you post it to the ledger, then you make the trial balance, then later on finally you go make the financial statement, then you close the temperature count. Okay, by the way, we have an exam for chapter 4 this afternoon. Make sure you fully understand the closing entry. That have a pretty much percentage for the exam. Okay, you should know we should start close the revenue, close the expenses, then we all put into the income summary. Then later on, the income summary will be close to the capital. OK， 今天下午一个很重要的有好几个题目，好，麻烦你一定要知道 for this part. OK, so that's the about the difference between the operating cycle and accounting cycle. OK, then for the inventory, actually I will say 90% of system accounting system is adopting the perpetual inventory system. Perpetual means forever, which means the record or the balance for all the ledger should be continuously updated. So whenever you are the accountant or you are the manager people, you want to find out the current balance for inventory, you want to know the current balance for accounts receivable, you want to know the current balance for sales, Just turn on the computer, you can get information right away. Okay, so that's what we call perpetual inventory system. So the inventory data can be updated continuously. That's why it's called perpetual inventory system. Okay, perpetual inventory system. I'm not going to discuss the periodic that part. Okay, well, because it's actually most of the business they are using the perpetual inventory system. Just like you go to 7-Eleven, you buy a bottle of milk, you see they scan your item. At the moment, there were two records be showing in the system. One is how much the sales for the bottle of the milk, for example, $30. Okay, and at the same time, it will show you another information. How much is the cost for that bottle? For example, $10. Then at the same time, it also updated the balance of the inventory, because when I probably per day I will purchase 50 bottles of milk. Okay, when I sell out one bottle, the inventory balance goes to 49. Okay, so there are several numbers can be updated. So we are saying this is a perpetual inventory system. OK， 永续制的好处是在电脑系统里面，它永远帮你每卖掉一笔东西，销货金额改变了，然后呢，你的销货商品的金额改变了，你的存货的量数也改变了。So that's why it's a very good system to maintain all the information. Okay. So we have the flow should be very easily. You start with inventory because every time when you start a new accounting period, whatever is left, whatever is not sold, okay, we call that ending inventory, 期末存货. But moving to the new period, then the same item, we change the name to beginning inventory. So which means beginning inventory, also the prior year's ending inventory, they are the same thing. Okay, so you have beginning inventory, then you have some purchase, new purchase, which means we call the term says merchandise available for sale. Merchandise available for sale. 请记住这个中文叫做可销售商品。OK， 有多少东西你可以准备 ready for sale? So merchandise available for sale, it also means that something they are ready for sale. Ready for sale. Okay. So for merchandising available for sale, so every time for perpetual inventory system, you sell out something and you will show the cost of goods sold right away. So your computer system will update both the cost of goods sold and at the same time, anything not sold, it goes to the ending inventory system. So these two figures under the perpetual inventory system are updated continuously and actually at the same time. OK， 所以你手上有这么多的商品，卖出去的就叫做销货成本，没有卖出去的就叫做期末存货。这两个 number 永远都是每卖一笔数字都永远会一直会不断的更新，OK， so that you have to know the flow of the sequence. I think we have done the quiz 5-1 last time, so we're going to skip. So perpetual inventory system update lots of information, but one thing you need to know, even though the computer system always updated the balance of your inventory, 你的电脑系统会一直更新你的期末存货。But however, we cannot always trust the computer, right? Because there could be several reasons, possibility that the number finally cannot match with the real inventory number. OK， 我们的这个期末存货的数字哈，就是电脑里面的期末存货，不能够一直相信它，因为总是会有原因，等到你实体发现的时候，它跟现场数字不合。So in order to confirm the real number of the inventory that which are in the warehouse, you need to do something, an action. We call that physical count. 你要有个动作，就叫做实体盘点。 实体盘存这个字，请要特别注意 physical count。OK，physical 就是实体的 ，count 就是数。OK， 实体盘点这个字很重要，叫 physical count。physical count. So compare with the number of physical count and also the number from the computer systems. Then there should be some, could be some gap difference. Then that means you need to do what? Always at the end, adjusting entry. Okay, so that's why even for the inventory, at the end of the counting period, you still need to do adjusting entry. Make sure the inventory balance should be updated too. OK， 所以我们讲过，在第4章一直在讲说要做调整。第3章调整分录，每一个期末很多事情都要调整，连存货都不例外。OK， 因为存货的电脑系统跟你的实体的存货盘点系统是有可能会不一样的。但是所以我们要调整成什么？现场实际的，因为已经发生就发生了哈，不管老鼠吃了你家的那个什么那个 cheese 吃了多少块。然后你损失了多少的那个食物，但你还是必须去认列你这个被老鼠吃掉的那个损失 ，OK？ 所以这个就是我们还是要做 adjusting for the at the end， OK？ So we're moving to the also different terms. When you buy something, always a big sale, okay? Then we call that from department store. Like recently. Even though it's past Christmas already, but we still have a New Year coming. So for New Year, I believe there are also some promotion for the sales. OK， 会促销一些东西。那样这样子，不管是 no matter 20% off, 30% off, even more than 70% off. OK, but we call that trade discount. Trade discount. No matter how much the trade discount is, then the net number.Which is the invoice number, is the number you record on your book, okay? So you don't need to, you just ignore the trade account. It's nothing related with accounting. 请注意啊，商业折后跟你的会计是不相关的，因为呢，你买的东西的发票价格就是折扣后价格。So actually accounting, whenever they need to do the entry, always based on the invoice price. Okay, so nothing, you don't need to do any entry if the question showing that there's some trade discount. So it's not the one we need to pay attention. But purchase discount is different, or some other name we call that cash discount. We're going to do some practice later, so be careful for this part. Okay, we have some student later coming. Starting from chapter 5.You don't need to upload anything in class notes. 从第5章 later on the same thing， 不用再做课堂的那个记录。You only because I will give you some practice exercise in class. You follow me, then you complete and submit after the class. So no, because I think from chapter 1, the reason I asked you to do the in-class notes because from chapter 1 to chapter 4 is about accounting cycle, it's about the process, okay? And I think the concept is very important. But starting from chapter 5, we're moving to the merchandising, we're moving to the accounts receivable subject or some other. You need to do more practice. Even though for the test or examination, I only give you true and false question and also the multiple choices. But still, you still need to do real in hand. I mean the entry. 你要做分录. With the practice in doing the entry, then you should know the problems. Okay, so we'll change the starting from chapter 5 different. Okay, so now we will later on have some practice for purchase discount, purchase subject, and you should know how to do the entry. Okay, all right. So for purchase discount or cash discount, 进货折扣或现金折扣, you need to do entry. Need entry, okay, which means has to be recorded on your book. Okay, so the purchased goods on credit, okay, requires a clear statement that of the expected future payment. What is expected future payment? When you buy something, the seller decide to give you some credit term, which means they hope you can pay off the bill within certain time. Okay, that's their expectation. Then you should know your obligation, when is the due date, then you have to pay off all the debt. Okay, so for that term, we have credit term, we have credit period. Okay, then you should pay a lot of attention for that terminology. Okay, so for you are the purchaser, we say that purchase credit term. But another side, they are the seller. Actually, the same one. Same terminology from both sides. One is called sales credit term. Another one is purchase credit term. Actually, the same term. Okay, no difference. Okay, so here is the one, the credit term. Okay, it's saying that it's important. I think for several, the multiple choices definitely will ask you about these questions. Okay, then for your business major, you should also know the terminology, especially maybe you do have some international trade, because international trade normally will take pretty longer time. Okay, in that case, okay, then you should know when you have to arrange for the cash flow. Okay, all right. So here the credit discount date is 10 days, which means within the 10 days, then you will be offered to take 2% discount. So 10 days is the days discounts available for you, 可享有折扣的期间。Okay, so starting from the 11th day to the end of 30 days. Okay, end means net, got nothing, but you still have to pay back for 100% of the bill. Okay, but the due date, they can give you the payment is 30 days. Okay, 30 days. Then you will ask, what about I just don't have money, I have difficulty? Then you can negotiate with the seller, see they accept or not. Normally, if over than 30 days, we will say that it's a bad debt, 坏账. If longer than 30 days, then depends on the policy of the seller, how they are going to handle with the bad debts. Okay, so that's I think for chapter 6 or chapters and later chapters. Okay, we're discussing about bad debts, how to handle the bad debt issue. Okay, anyway, so normally if the bad debts, the length is really pretty long, the company might sell the bad debt to other collecting company. 你有听过催账公司吗？专门去催呆账的公司。那很多公司，它如果应收账款收不到，一直催不到，他就会把这笔账 with a very very low price selling to the collection company， 卖给那个收账公司。然后你就看那个收账公司来怎么样到你家，天天骚扰你、敲门、催钱。Okay, so that's but it's not the point. The point is, if you are overdue, then probably next time you will not being on their list. The seller will not sell you any item anymore. Okay, that's the importance of the credit. 所以信用很重要，就是你如果30天后还不付账，那你以后就不可能再跟他家买。Okay, so this term, but 210 and 30 is not the only credit term. They can have different change. The style maybe a 60 day to might have 60 day here, or put on EOM, end of month. It is counted starting from the end of month. For example, today is December 28. If I purchase something, they offer me 210 EOM and 60, which means the 10th day will start from today's 12/28, and the term will start from January 1st. which means till January 10th. Then during the period, you can have 2% discount, okay, because we have EOM. If we don't have the EOM, with the 10-day counted starting from today, okay, that's the difference. Okay, I remember last time I showed you the real meaning of the 2%. Actually, finally, it equals to annually interest 37.24, very high interest. Like now, if you just a regular individual, you want to borrow the money in Taiwan, then the interest might charge you no more than 2%. But if you're using your credit card, then you can decide not to pay, then the credit card company might charge you like 18% to 20%, even though they are still within 20%, okay? But if you comparing to 37.24% for annual a year, which means it's really a lot saving, okay? So normally, if you really have enough cash, people, business people, they prefer to take 2% off because that 2% only imply to 10 days. If we expand the 10 day to a year 365, actually equally is 37 something the percentage. Okay, 给你10天，给你2% 折扣，听起来很少，但是那是只有10天的概念。OK， 如果把这10天把它扩充到365天的话，它给你的利息是高于就几乎到37%，非常高。所以如果你真的手上有闲钱的话，通常会建议你就去拿这2% 的 discount，really a pretty good offer. OK. Okay, now we should pay attention to here. Then you will start your practicing. Okay, so this is the example for November 2nd. The company purchased the goods inventory with $1,200 on account or on credit, which means it's not with the cash. Okay, and the credit term is 2, 10, and 30. Okay, so now the date becomes important. The date is November 2nd. OK， 这个是你买了1200块信用交易，然后人家给你这个信用条件，所以你买的日期，好 I think we show the sample of the invoice before, so you should know where to find the purchase date. Okay, then for here, you debit at the day you purchase. At the day you purchase, you debit merchandise inventory. You credit accounts payable. Be careful, we are doing the practice. Let's compare with your homework, the exercise I just gave to you. Whoever didn't have this, you have this? Okay, so here, whoever you don't have the, please come over here. Okay, here is the question. Anyone who didn't have the questions? Over. And you also need the blank form to do. Oh, you need. 有没有填的表格？ You also need this to do the practice. That is the question. 都有，包括空格的。Okay. The question shown on the screen is on November 2nd, Zima purchased 1,200 merchandise inventory on account, and the credit term is 2, 10, and 30. Now let's move on your practice question number 1. Okay, a company that uses perpetual inventory system. Actually, we are all talking about perpetual inventory system. Purchased 8,500 on September 25th. Okay. Then the terms of the purchase were 210 and 32. The invoice was paid in full on October 4th. Okay. Then prepare the journal entry to record this transaction, which means, tell me how many transaction entry you need. How many? And which date? On which date? You need to record the transaction for which date? I can hear you, please speak louder. Yeah, September 25 and October 4th. 2 entries, 2 recording. Okay. Now let's see the original illustration here. Okay. So when you purchase something, then which means you have something in your warehouse. We call that merchandise inventory, or you just write inventory. Both are right. Okay. Then inventory, I just mentioned, this item is the item of the current asset. So it should be on the equations left. So it should go to the debit, right? And also at same time, the item is not paid off yet. So it's on account. So you have some debts. We call that accounts payable, or you may write AP, okay, with the amount. So you are done with the first entry. Is that easy? For some of you, I feel regret. You have several students didn't show up. I think it's a good time. Always not giving up, because this is a required course. No matter how you hate the course or you don't like the course, but you just have to finish that pass. Okay? So I don't think you should give up, because you still have to move on. So every time when we're doing the entry, it's a good timing for the review. Okay. So you do the entry here. Then second, remove the second. So you go to the blank sheet to complete your entry for September 25th. 每一个人开始做你9月25号的练习，根据我们目前在做的东西来试看看。存货是资产，所以它是借方。但这个存货买的时候，它是一个负债的方式买的，所以它产生了负债。负债那就是贷方，所以一借一贷，就完成了你这一笔的记录，可以吗？ Is that okay? We'll take a quick break after we finish these questions. Okay. Then we move to the time. Okay. Here on November 12th, which means the last day of the 10th day, the credit period, discount period. Z-Mark paid amount due on the due means 就是已经欠到期了哈 on the purchase of November 2nd. So here is the thing. Since they pay off the old bill, so you need to write off the credit to debit. When you do that, let's do the posting at the same time. When you have the first one, after the entry, you need to do the posting to the individual ledger. So for your inventory, merchandise inventory, you post to $1,200. And at the same time, you have accounts payable, also have this. This is account, or we call that ledger. So this is the balance, and this is the balance for after this transaction. Okay. Then after we move to here, which is November 12th, you need to clear off the debt. How to clear off the debt? Write off or clear off. We put it from debit to credit. So which means you have zero balance for accounts payable. Okay, since you put the AP here first. Okay, now is the question about the credit. Okay, the cash, since you take 2% off, so 1,200 times 2%, which means you have $24 off. You don't need to pay in the full price, okay? So $24, what does that mean? Of course, you know, at the same time, you need to pay the net of $1,200, which is 1,170 cash. These are not balanced. Definitely, there should be something here, okay, which is, we call that discount. Some textbook or some system, they prefer to use a two-stage, which means they put the purchase discount here first, then later on transfer to inventory. But that's a little bit, complicated. For this book, it's easy. It will deduct the cost of your inventory. So inventory originally is $1,200. Since you had a discount, so we remove the $24 here. So you have merchandise inventory from the debit to credit. So this is something really important here. Okay? Since the cost, so after you deduct the discount paid within the 10 days, your cost for the inventory drop to less amount, which is the balance over here. Okay? So you should know the one here. Okay? This is, anyone got questions? So when you pay within the credit terms, credit period, okay, the first thing you need to write off the credit AP to debit AP, which means make your accounts payable available, a balance to payable to zero balance. Then you need to pay off cash. And pay off cash, the original balance is debit. When you want to pay something, you move to credit. Okay, so 1176. And then another item for credit means you need to deduct the cost of the original inventory, which means another term, I put it here, purchase discount. Purchase discount. Okay, why? If you have more knowledge, I can show you what does that mean for two stage. Okay, one is, if I do another way, accounts payable, purchase discount 24, and the cash. This is stage 1, this is stage 2, because later on, this is only a temporary account, okay? So I have to move the purchase discount to inventory, to reduce the inventory, same thing. So can you see? Right over here, actually the same thing for here. Alright, so this is the one we're showing on your textbook. And this is some other textbook or the system from other company we prefer to use two stages. Okay, it's up to you. But to make it easier, we prefer to use just one stage. Okay, so no matter how much different times you have purchase discount, or later on we have purchase return, you just charge to merchandise inventory. You deduct cost of the account. So far, okay? So go back to your practice. For question 1, similar things. So if you pay in October 4th, which is the last day of the 10 days, same case here, then please write out the similar entry for these questions. Did you complete the October 4th? October 4th. Yeah, do it now, because I just show you how to do that. You can discuss with your friends. 60，这个是很好机会在帮你们做练习了哈，你们也都迟到，把最重要的事情都跳掉。我们已经开始做让你复习的动作了 ，OK？ So give you 1 more minute, then we'll see the solution. When you get a solution, please, I prefer you use other color pen. Red pen, black pen, anyway, it's different from the one you are writing your exercise. Okay, don't feel bad if I'm telling teacher that I actually blank, know nothing. At least you let me know how many people here. It won't impact your, the performance for the exam. Just let me know how much you know. So do as much as you can, or you can discuss with your neighbors. Okay. Then later I show you the solution. Then you use your other colored pencil or pen to make the correction. OK， 你现在先做，尽量做，你也可以找同学讨论，让你真的懂。然后呢，等一下我就会给你告诉你答案。然后呢，你用红笔或不同颜色的笔来改，不要介意说你做对或错，那不是给你加点分用，我只是让我知道说我必须要再加强什么。OK， 所以麻烦同学要尽量写。然后晚进来就空格，然后呢再继续跟上。Okay, so after that, me show you this answer for the one you were just writing. Oh, it can't show on the screen. I don't know why. Okay, I do it on her. Benefits, it will be merchandise inventory for $8,500. Then you have accounts payable for this. So if you use another color pen, if you are doing right, just do like this, okay? Then for October 4th, it should be accounts payable A500 and merchandise inventory 170 and cash 3834. Okay, this is the answer for the second one. Okay, I think it should be more clear, right? Okay. Then we have a break. 自己改一下哦，有错就错，没有关系，这不是在影响你的那个，我只让知道说有多少同学还了解。Okay, now after you have done with your entry, of course, whatever you have done the entry, finally they are going to the post into the individual ledger or individual account. And supposedly, when you clear off the AP and the balance should go to 0. And when you reduce the discount with the cost, then you are lowering the cost of the inventory. Okay, so now that's easy only for purchase discount. But sometimes, see the difference? When you have the purchase return or we have another term, purchase allowances, they are different. They are different. When you have purchase return, which means maybe the reason you want to return the item because you order 10, they give you 12, then you return 2. Okay, the item quantity doesn't match. Okay, or the thing is not with not exactly the same item as you purchased from the terminology, the terms. Okay, so any reason or they have a really serious defect you want to return. Okay, we call that purchase return. So when you are writing, make a phone call, confirm with the purchase return, then you send the goods back. Okay. Then we have another term which is purchase allowances. Purchase allowance means normally after you receive the goods, after you receive the item, you found there are several minor defects, which means you're not happy with that. Okay, it's not 100% the one you're purchasing. So you make a phone call, give the complaint, and the other side it's still marketable, sellable, the item, which means you don't need to feel bothered and sending back because it will cost the shipping. Then what about I give you some discount? Okay, we call that allowances. So you keep the goods, then you whatever the price you want to sell is your side. But for the seller, they give you the price discount, then they don't want you to send the goods back. We call that the price allowances, or sometimes purchase allowance. Okay, so the difference is one you return goods, another one you don't return goods. So these are the two things. Okay, no matter it's a purchase return or it's a purchase allowances. Well, under the both condition, your merchandise inventory, the cost should be cut for the related reason. Okay, for example, here is the example. On November 15th, Z-Mart is issued a 300 debit memo. What is debit memo? I think I explained last week. Originally, you have accounts payable, which should be on your credit side. If you return one good, which was $100, supposedly your accounts payable should reduce $100. Then this is in debit side. So for the debit memo, which means when I return the goods to the seller, I will attach one copy of the debit memo showing that I already deducted the cost from my account. For the debit memo, just a proof. We both know that. Okay? If you send in a debit memo for the seller side, definitely for they are accounts receivable. Okay. For the seller, this is purchaser. Originally, they will receive $100 to $200. When you send a debit memo, they will deduct the accounts receivable with the same money. Then for them, they call credit memo. Okay? So that's actually this page, the document should be equal. For purchasing is debit memo, for seller is a credit memo. Okay, it's not that important. So actually for the new textbook, it doesn't show this part, but I still let you know about the meaning. Okay, so if you have the $300 accounts payable, okay, then you will definitely offset from the credit to debit. Okay, and at the same time, even though we know that it's a 300, for defective merchandise, 瑕疵品 defect 是名词 ，defective 是瑕疵的东西。Okay, defective merchandise. So you can, for the credit, you can use purchase allowance later on, transfer to inventory, or you directly use merchandise inventory to the credit. Okay, 像这个所谓的进货折让，好，进货折让，那也是一样，跟刚才我们的进货折扣一样，你可以直接从存货成本从借变贷冲销，或者你要用两段式，刚才我们上堂课解释过，你先把它用成进货折让，之后再去冲销你的存货，哈，那两段式。但是呢，这个有点小复杂。那我们初学者不是会计话，你只要知道这种所谓的进货折让，就冲销存货成品的那个存货成本就好了。So that's why anything as long as they have purchase discount, purchase return, or purchase allowances, you need to offset your AP, purchase payable, and also at the same time offset the cost of the merchandise to credit. 知道吗？只要是进货折扣、进货退回、进货折让，都是让你的进货成本变低。好，进货成本变低，存货变低，就从借变成贷，然后的应付账款就变成贷，变成减少。Okay, so this is the one for allowances, and actually they are very similar to return. Okay, here is the returns. Okay, return is the example here is purchase 1,000 of merchandise on June 1st, then term is 210 and 60. 2 days later, Z-Mart returns 100 of goods before paying the invoice. When Z-Mart later pays on, the 10th day, which is June 11, it takes 2% discount only for $900 remaining balances. Okay, here I think we also have the similar example that we can follow later. Okay, let's do this. You have June 1st transaction, then you have June 3rd transaction, and you have June 11th transaction. Can everyone try, even though it's okay, we do here, then you do your homework. Okay. For June 1st, I think it's very easy. Everyone, you get merchandise debit, inventory, and accounts payable $1,000. Okay, so I follow the ledger again here. So after the first day entry, you have merchandise 1,000 posting to here the balance. Then you have accounts payable for 1,002 here. Okay. So when you have the purchase return something, you give it back. I think that's a return, right? Okay. You have something returned in 2 days. Okay. So when you return, you offset the AP from credit to debit 100, and also you offset merchandise inventory from debit to credit. 所以当你注意到这个的差别，好，等一下我们就做这一题的练习哈。当你有进货退回的时候，这个时候呢，你的应付账款就变少了。怎么样变少呢？你的本来是贷方呢，就变成借方。OK， 那你的 inventory 的成本呢，从借变贷减低了100块钱。啊，注意到这个很重要哦。So for June 3rd, you have AP when you return something. Okay. Then the last day, and this is very important because you still pay within the 10 days, discount period. Then now the balance for AP goes to $900. Okay. It's different from the example before because we still can get a 2% off. But now you need to get the updated balance for AP in order to get the 2% off here. So don't use the 1,000 as before to get 2% off. You need to times 2% to the updated balance for the AP. 可以注意啦，这个题目的跟刚才的不一样是，它有进货退回这件事情，或者甚至于进货折让的这个事实。那这个时候呢，会让你的应付账款的余额改变了，变少了。所以这个时候，虽然你还在你的折扣期间拿到这个2% 的折扣，那你请特别注意，要用最新的余额应付账款余额去乘上你的进货折扣价钱。Okay, so after that, your inventory cost will be reduced with $18 after the posting. $2 and AP, $18. And your AP will offset $18. Okay, so this is then your updated balance for merchandise is AA2, and then your AP balance is it's not that one. We still have $900. It's not related. 900. You offset this $900 here. So for the last one, you have accounts payable offset the total balance left. Then within the $900, you only need to pay $882 because one of the $18 you reduce your inventory cost. Okay. 好，所以再讲一次这个题目的差别哈，是一开始进货大家应该都会了哈，我们已经做第2次课本这边的例题，刚才请你们做了一次题目，那现在又再做一次进货的，大家应该都知道借存货贷应付账款，这个没有问题哈。再来呢，当你要退货的时候，就会让你的应付账款减少，从贷变成借，然后让你的存货减少，从借变成贷。那最重要的是最后一天，如果在折扣期限内的话，好，那这个时候你就要用剩余的价值去乘上你的折扣。所以虽然你还是冲销了900块钱，好，但是你现金只要付882就好了。Okay, then let's go back to this exercise. Very similar following to this page. Okay, then to complete your exercise. The number 2, rollerblade company uses the perpetual inventory system and had the following transaction during October. Okay, the first day, October 6th, purchased 4,000 of inventory. The seller's credit terms are 210 and 30. Okay, please do the first one entry. Do the first one entry. October 6th. 麻烦后面进来的有要来拿题目或练习吗？10月6号，请先做10月6号的分录。好，买了4000块存货，然后呢，他给你的折扣条件是这样子。那所以 following the first one, you should, do the entry back here. 好，你看第一个那个月玲，参考第一个分录做你第一题的问题 ，OK？ 所以借存货，存货因为资产在借方，应付账款因为是负债，所以放贷方 ，OK？All right, then go to October 8. Return 200 worth of the defective units and receive full credit. OK， 这时候呢，他退回了，事实上这个是。这个就退回去200块钱的瑕疵品 ，OK。Then following here, when you return something, what should you do? What should you do? 当你退回的时候，你要怎么做？好，退回的时候要怎么做 ？OK? Did you everyone complete October 8? October 8. Why don't we do this? Here's the question. You follow here and do the question, do the practice here. Maybe next time you can sit with them or they sit with you and explain to them. And try to help them to speak the, Even though you were pretty lost for the first 4 chapters, but I think you still have a chance to, make it up. Whenever we have new thing, we do the review for the entry. Okay, so you have to follow. Okay. So Debbie, are you okay so far? Okay, then the last one. When you're done with October 8. October 8. Then, so far, your accounts payable balance should be $3,800， 对吧？你现在买了4000块，然后你退回去200，所以目前你的应付账款的余额应该3800，对吧 ？Okay. Then October 15, within the 10 days. Okay, within the 10 days, paid amount due less the return item. Okay, then please follow the answer here. You write off the whole balance of AP, then you pay off after the 2% off the full money, and also reduce the return for here. Okay, the discount, purchase discount 2% for here. So I'm going to give you the solution for these questions. Since I cannot connect. Okay. So for October 6th, we have merchandise. Use the other colored pen, then see you are right or not. If you are right, then use the check. If you made a mistake, then use the other color to write the right answer here. Okay. So you have $4,000, and at the same time you have accounts payable for $4,000. So after that, you do the posting to the ledger. So your balance for inventory is $4,000, and your accounts payable is $4,000. After this, you should know the balance for each account. Okay. Then for October 8th, you have something returned, $200, which means you need to write off the $200, and you also need to reduce your cost of $200 here. Okay, so after that, your accounts payable, the balance is $3,800, and your inventory marked down $200 here. Okay, so far okay. Then for the last day for the credit period, which is October 15th, okay, then you need to pay off the whole balance of $3,800 with the money you owe to the seller. So you need to write off the total money here, and within the $300 you are allowed to get a purchase discount, which means you will reduce your inventory cost again with the amount of $76. Then you pay the balance of cash, which is $3,724. Okay. So after that, you need to reduce your inventory cost again. Then you write off the list, so you have accounts payable with zero balance, and your inventory balance should be $3,724. So this is the one you're supposed should understand after the example and after the practice. Okay， 越里面都好一点点，跟着做，用另外一个颜色笔去改，好，不一定要都100分，100分我也不会 care 你谁拿100分，我只 care 大家是不是都懂，不懂就不懂，懂就是懂 ，OK。So here is the solution, the practice for the second question, question 2. OK， 第二个答案问题 ，OK。Okay, so we are done with the purchase size, okay? And also, when you purchase something, sometimes for the shipping fee, if you buy from Taipei, then you have to deliver to Kaohsiung, then that costs pretty much. But sometimes you make the international trade, you buy from Taiwan, actually you order something from the Europe, then the delivery or shipping fee should be very significant. So, who is going to responsible for the shipping fee? Okay, that's very important. Okay, we call that transportation cost or shipping cost. Okay, when you decide to who is going to be responsible for the shipping fee or the transportation cost, it comes on who owns the property, who owns the ownership, who is having the ownership. Okay, so when the ownership transferred to the purchase side, then the purchaser needs to be responsible for the shipping fee. When the ownership still keeping in the seller side, and the seller has to be responsible for the shipping cost. Okay, so you have to know who has the title of the goods. Okay, so we have a term we call that FOB. FOB, I think for the international trade, everyone should know that. Okay, free on board. Free means you don't have the responsibility. FOB, which means you're free, which means that the ownership has been transferred. Okay, so we have two terms you need to know. Okay, this is the shipping point on the left, and on the right, that's the destination. And in the middle is the transportation carrier. Okay, can be ship, can be truck, can be the airplane. Okay, so any kinds of carrier could be possible. Okay, so from the shipping point to the destination, pay attention, if the term is FOB shipping point, which means the seller will be free on board on the shipping point, which means when they upload the goods to the carrier, then they are not responsible anymore. So starting from the carrier, then go to the destination. During the journey, then the purchaser has to be responsible for the transportation cost. OK， 所以期运点交货，注意啊，这个是你们上课一定要会懂的哈，因为也有可能做国际贸易更重要哈。一个没搞清楚，那个是谁付运费，那可是大事，好大事。OK， 所以呢 ，FOB shipping point 在你的 invoice 上，你 see that， which means starting the shipping point and the 运费谁负责 ？The ownership transfer when goods pass to。So the transportation cost paid by buyer. 如果你是起运点交货的话，是买方要负责运费。注意哦 ，If the term is on FOB shipping point, so the seller will not be free. You'll be free on the shipping point. So the purchaser needs to pay the cost, shipping cost. Okay. If the term is FOB destination. 目的地交货 Okay, so till the delivery to the destination, the whole journey cost should be paid by the seller. So if it's a FOB destination, then the cost should be paid by the seller. Okay, give you 30 seconds to think about it again. 因为这个很重要 it's very important. Because a lot of things will be, depends on the term offer, agree with both sides. Okay, 一个是起运点交货，一个是目的地交货。这个对你的 inventory cost is very related. 注意了 ，when we count the cost of the inventory， 当我们在算存货成本的时候 ，the cost of inventory does not only include the invoice price, it will include also the transportation cost. It will also include the insurance. It will also include several related costs. 当你买一个货品进来的时候，不是只有那个发票价格的成本而已啊。像如果是一笔很大的运费是由买方出的话，那个买方的运货成本也是他的存货成本，都要加上去哦。什么运货成本啊，保险费啊，还有检验费啊。Sometimes you even have the tariff tax， 那个进货那个，所以 that's why it makes so expensive for import car. Because Taiwan tariff tax is really high. It's not protected by some, the international organization. 我们没有加入那些什么有的没的，因为都加不进去啊。因为你不是那个集团里面那个团体里面，所以我们的税都不会被互相减免嘛。所以那个重要性就是，所以我们台湾的政府哈，有的时候是 不能够太用政治思维，是真的哈，因为这边的录音不能有太多政治思维，因为这会影响到很多的民生用品的成本。就好比我们同样买一个双 B 车，在台湾的税非常非常的贵。好，以前你应该要举一个比较简单，那个 Toyota 的那个 Camry。When I was in the United States, okay, I purchased the cost is about $1.5 thousand. One, how much? One. Okay, $15,000 about. So which calculated to Taiwan dollars is about no more than $500,000 Taiwan dollars. But when I, send it back, and I was so shocked because the same car, same model in Taiwan for the brand new car, the Toyota Camry is almost 900,000 around, almost double. That's because the tariff tax. Okay, so 你们的所有的 inventory cost should add up several other items. Okay, so this is the one if it's a FOB shipping point. FOB shipping point. Okay, all right. So let's go to the example here. Okay, on November 2nd. The company purchased 2,000 merchandise on terms on FOB shipping point. So 那个这一题 FOB shipping point 谁付运费 ？Who's going to pay for the shipping cost？
买方。
啊？
买方。
买方 ，OK。So 那如果是买方的话 ，if that's the case, it will be actual cost to the inventory， 会是存货的加项 or 不一定。会。OK， 那耳朵还不错嘛，可以过来。
我刚好。
Okay, so for 2,000 FOB shipping point, then the transportation cost is $75. So here you add up to merchandise inventory. Okay, but some textbook they use another term, freight in. Freight in fee means transportation fee. Okay, let's do. You may see the question with the freight fee, freight in. Or you may see some question is showing that freight out. They are different. When you see freight in, which means the purchaser is responsible for the cost, then this one will be added up to the merchandise inventory. 如果你看到这个词是进货，它的进货的运费，那表示买方要负责运费。If you see freight out, which means the seller will be responsible for the shipping. Okay, the term is different. So here, if you are for the FOB shipping point, some people will say freight in. Okay, but here we put all the related costs totally to merchandise inventory. 好，所以如果进货的话，你就直接加在存货上。什么样加在存货上？放在借方，就是继续把它累积上去。因为之后你会过账，继续在借方，继续在借方，它就一直 added up. Okay, then normally the shipping is paid by cash. We don't see the shipping using the credit term. Okay, shipping is always done by cash. Okay, so here you credit cash for $75. 运费几乎用那个现金成交，没有用信用卡信用交易。The credit card is different from the credit sale. Actually, credit card sale the same thing for the cash sale. 你的信用卡不要我用信用卡是不是信用交易？不是啊，信用交易它是给你在一个期间内付都可以。Okay, but credit sale they give you a grant period to pay off the debt. But credit card sale actually the same as cash sale. Okay. Alright, 好，那这边就是这个部分是要 transportation cost。那我们就直接 go to the quiz 5-2. Everyone, please log into your Tron class. 必须要 login。Break after we finish the quiz. Okay, can you see the question now? On 5-2. Go to Trump class 5-2, in-class quiz. Purchaser side. Purchasing side, okay, for the purchaser. Of course, you have accounts payable. Then you, of course, for the other side, someone needs to sell the item. So we have a seller side. Okay, now starting from now, we are doing the seller side. Okay, so before we do the seller side, you need to understand the concept. What we show on for your seller's income statement. Okay, so here is the upper part for the income statement. So we have sales. We will less sales discount and the sales return and allowances. Then we go to net sales. Remember, from the chapter 4, the last financial index is about profit margin index. Then it's about net income divided by net sales. At that time, I asked you to pay attention for the net sales, okay, which means the grand total sales. If there's any, you have offered anything to the purchaser, any, for them it's purchase discount, but for you, you call sales discount. So if there's any sales discount or someone returns goods to you, so which means you have sales return and allowances, then you go to net sales, okay. After the net sales, you need to deduct the old item you have sold, the original cost. We call that cost of goods sold. So then we go to gross profit. So here we need to focusing about this part because from the last two, the sessions, we're discussing about purchasing discount. For the purchasing, they have a discount, but for the sales, they also have the discount. But make sure these two are different for the purpose of the the accounting the book. Okay. Did you notice that whenever from the past sessions, whenever we have a purchase discount, whenever we have purchase return, whenever we have purchase allowances, everything we use the merchandise inventory. We deduct the total cost from the original inventory cost. But why we didn't use the individual account like the purchase discount, purchase return, and the purchase allowances? Because you are the purchaser. You only care how much is the cost for the total inventory. So whenever there's a freight in, which means the transportation cost, the purchasing should be recorded. You add it about to the inventory. Whenever there's any discount or return or whatever, you also goes to the merchandise inventory. Because for the purchasing side, you care about your cost for the total inventory. OK， 注意啊，这两个是不一样的概念哈。如果你是买方的话，你只在乎你存货的成本价值，不管你有没有拿到进货折扣、进货退回、进货折让，我们通通都算在存货的头上。所以你不会在你的 you won't see any purchase discount or related item on your financial statement, either the balance sheet or income statement. OK， 所以在那个时候呢，在你买的时候，这些东西你都不会看到进货存货、进货折让、进货折扣，因为它最后都算在存货上，那存货就是你的那个流动资产。But for the seller, you do care about how much the offer you provided offer to the purchaser. Why? Because you care about the credit. We have a credit department from the company. Periodically, they need to evaluate whether the credit offered to specific customer are reasonable or not. 因为卖方要有个所谓的信用中心，他们必须去评估他给每一个客户的信用的是对的还是不对。For example, I have several good customers. They all have good credit. So normally, in order to let them pay me earlier, I will offer 2%, for the 10 days. But after a period, couple period, you realize actually they're all good. Even though I offer 1%, they still will pay within 10 days. Probably I will adjust my credit term from 2% to 1%. Okay? Or something that's not good. You try to, promote yourselves. However, the credit term you offer to the customer, actually, they don't take it within 10 days. And then they even don't take it within, 30 days. They always, cause the bad debts. 那也有可能你发现你的客户都是不好的客户，不仅没有拿你给他的好的信用，还给你这样子照变坏账。In that case, probably the credit center they need to adjust their credit policy. Okay, so here is a number which will help you to evaluate that your policy is proper or not. If you erase directly whenever there's a sales discount, you offset the sales directly, then you don't have to trace to figure out whether the sales discount for this month or for the past few months, they are reasonable or not. So this is a very good information helping the management people decide whether what kind of credit policy they want to maintain. 这样懂吗？所以销货折扣这个数字，我们不能够直接去冲销你的销货金额，一定要把它单独列出来。因为你如果把它全部直接冲销货金额的话，你就不知道你这段期间你的客户有多少人拿到这个销货折扣。 那你也不知道你这个销货折扣是太松还是太散还是不好，那一定要有数字来帮助管理阶层来评估这件事情。OK， so you have to show on your sales discount under the sales, and also another thing, sales return and allowances. Then you might ask, how can you combine these two accounts within one account? Actually, they are individual accounts. Sales return is sales return. Sales allowances is sales allowances. How come here you put two accounts together with one account? The reason is what? You should assume the frequency should be that much. If you sell everything, everybody keep on returning, and everybody finding out that they have a defect, you should yell at your purchasing department. What kind of goods you're purchasing, and let me to get a complaint from my customer. So the reason why they put these two accounts together, because the frequency is really not too many. That's why they can combine these two accounts within one account. 销货退回是销货退回，销货折让是销货折让。为什么我们在报表上把这两个科目结合成一起呢？因为你可以想象，如果你是个买卖业者，发现你常常被人家退货，常常被人家抱怨你的货有瑕疵，那就是你的进货部门有问题哦。他买的货都是这么烂的东西，让你卖出去一直会收到抱怨，对不对？这样情况下，表示照来说它应该不的发生频率不高，所以我们可以允许把这两个会计科目合成一起。So, but even though we combine these two accounts together within one account, but we still need to show on here to let the management people know how frequent it happens. Okay, if it happens a lot, normally it's $2,000, but for this month it goes to $10,000. That doesn't make any sense. Something wrong with the goods I purchased, or something wrong with the sales department. Okay, then that's also a warning sign when you analyze the trend of this account. So be careful here. Whenever there's something discount happen, whenever there's some sales return or allowance happen, you need to use the account, the name of the account. You cannot directly write off the sales. OK， 所以只要有销货折扣、销货退回、销货折让，一定要用会计科目来表示，然后你不可以直接冲销销货收入。OK，so after that, then you can show your net sales. Now you understand what's the net sales after you deduct certain item. Okay. Then when we are saying the gross profit percent, you have to divide your. So most people will ask you about gross profit percent. Then you need to use the gross profit number and divide it by net sales, not the sales. So here is the number 314,700. So goes the percentage. Normally, this index is very important because we are preferring to compare within the similar company or similar industry to indicate how good the cost of the because you minus the cost of goods sold. So what's the gross profit percent indicate? It indicates that the purchasing of this department, this company, they can find a reasonable cost the place to purchase. Okay, or it's showing that the gross profit percent showing that this company always maintain their goods well. They don't have the people return or get allowance too frequent. Okay, 所以呢，毛利是一个很重要的指标。好，跟同学讲一个，虽然你会计不一定要学到，不要看懂报表。毛利率代表了在同样类似的产业里面，这家公司毛利率高，那家公司毛利率低，表示毛利率高的这家公司，它的进货成本比较高，它的那个在制造的那个品管比较好，所以当它卖出去东西不容易被人家退回。So for example, Taiwan Semiconductor, they always say, oh, their gross profit percentage is always very high. Why? Because their cost, they can always, try to lower the cost as low as possible, but at the same time also maintaining the good quality. So it's a good index to analyze the performance of a company. Okay, now we know the upper part of the income statement. 好，现在就是指的是损益表上面那一部分。好，到第一阶段的 gross income. Okay, so here. So now it's the sales of merchandise. Then it's related to our exercise 2. Okay, each sales transaction for a seller involve two parts. Originally, when you purchase something, you debit merchandise inventory and you credit AP, right? That's only one entry you need. But whenever here, when you sell something, you need to record two parts. One is about the sales revenue. One is about the cost of the merchandise sold. Okay, then you have to do the entry at the same time for both. Okay, both. Let's see the example here. On November 3rd, this company sold 2,400 of merchandise on credit. Again, on credit. You can see the example over there. My example is over there. You are not just watching your desk. Can you see there? You sure?
Yes.
Okay, on credit. So the merchandise has a cost basis. What is cost basis? Which means whatever they purchase, then the cost of those items. Then when they sold out, you should have to get the related cost. Okay, then the cost basis is 1,600. So I just mentioned when the transaction for the seller part, you need to record both the sales and also the cost of merchandise sold or cost sold. Okay, goods sold. So here is the two parts. The first part, you debit AR because it's a credit sale on credit. So you have accounts receivable, which is the asset. So that's why you put on debit, right? Debit. And at the same time, you incurred sales. Sales is a part of your equity. That's why it's on credit. 注意啊，如果你的会计借贷还是不清楚的话，这边又再次复习哈。借应收账款的意思，因为它是信用交易，所以应收账款是你的权利，所以你放在借方。但是因为你有应收账款的，为什么会产生应收账款？因为你有销货收入，那销货会增加你的权益，所以它是在贷方。好，注意再来一次复习 ：debit AR credit sales. This is the first part, the recording, and the second part is about you have to record the balance for merchandise inventory. Whatever you have sold, you will reduce the amount of the merchandise inventory from debit to credit. Whatever you have reduced from the inventory goes to where? Goes to cost of goods sold. Goes to cost of goods sold. Then for the income statement, let's see it again. Here is the one, cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold. Okay, will show on your income statement. So we are doing that for the cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold is an income statement account. Then which means they are temporary account too. When you someday you need to close your all the account on income summary, this one need to be closed too. Okay, 本销货成本它就是属于损益表的科目，也就是暂时性科目。所以之后你要去结账的时候，你要把它结零，好，它也是一样的。OK， 好。So here is the most important thing. I think for the sales, and I think most people you should be okay with this part. But for the second one, at the same time, you need to reduce the merchandise to credit. Then you create a new account. We say that it's the cost of goods sold, 销货成本. Okay, so cost of goods sold, the balance is on debit. The normal balance for cost of goods sold, similar to expense. The normal balance for expense goes to debit. 大家都应该知道，费用是在借方， 费用跟成本是很相似的两样东西。成本是管所有相关物品的成本，费用呢也是属于成本，但是费用是指所消费性的东西哈。那这两个东西都是在借方，所以请特别记住，销货成本正常位置是在借方。So normal balance for cost of goods sold is on debit because they are similar to expenses. Okay, so let's go to your exercise. The first one. Okay. Question 3. December 1 sold merchandise on credit for $5,000. The term is 3, 10, and 30. The item sold had a cost of $3,500. Please do this question. Please do this question on your blank sheet. 麻烦做12月1号这一题。好，卖了信用交易卖了5000块钱的东西。OK， 那他卖的成本是3500。那 based on the example here, you give your answer. Okay. And December 3rd, the next one actually is related to the purchase. We can do that too, okay? December 3rd, purchase merchandise for cash, $720. This one's easy. You get something with cash. So December 3rd should be easy. And December 4th, you purchase merchandise on credit for $2,600. And it get the terms of 120 and 30. So far you can complete 3 transactions. You can complete 3 transactions for December 3rd, December 4th. If you're still not quite sure, can refer to question 1 and question 2. 如果12月3号、12月4号你忘记怎么做的话，去参考前面第1题、第2题的答案。OK， 第1题、第2题答案。OK。All right. So far, I make sure to give you the answer for this one. Okay, December 1st, you have accounts receivable and the sales. Use the other color to correct. If it's correct, use the other color pen. 可以吗？到现在 OK 吗？可以跟上吗？ Okay, another one, at same time you also need to record. I'm going to use the abbreviation cost of goods sold, CGS. Okay, next time you know CGS is like ARAP. It means cost of goods sold. And at the same time we reduce inventory, so amount goes to $3,500. That's the one. This is the one we just learned. This is the new one we just learned. Okay, and for it sells something, the company also purchased something. So December 3rd, get something merchandise inventory with cash, 720. This one's easy. And the 4th, buy something on credit. So you have accounts payable. So we have 2600. So after you have done with the 3-day transaction, see your individual account the balance can be updated or not. So you have because we don't know the beginning balance for inventory, but we just know we need to, when you sell something, you need to reduce the cost over here. And when you buy something, keep on adding up, then we have cash. We have accounts payable. You are not required to do the individual ledger, but I will encourage you, you need to at least do the inventory and also accounts payable, because that matters when you're getting some discount. Then you should know the balance, for example, the AP, how much you can get based on what's the balance to get the discount. Okay, so T account sometimes really helpful. T account's really helpful. Okay, then we move on, keep on moving to the subject here. So same thing, we had a purchase discount, but for the seller is purchase discount. The same, actually the same paper with the different copies. Okay, so here's the example. If you are having the sales offer sales discount, okay, for example, we had accounts receivable and the sales, okay, and this part it doesn't show the example of the cost. We just ignore that part. Okay. Here is the example for 1,000 credit sale, and the term is 210 and 60. So the first day, the sales has no problem, okay? And if paid within the 60 days, which means the customer will not take the offer of 2% discount. In that case, it's really easy. You get the full cash for the accounts receivable, then you offwrite the total amount of accounts receivable. So this is for the days on January 11th, the last day of the 60 day. No discount, sales discount taken for this example. 所以这一题的意思就是说，如果这家公司我们先不管销货成本部分，就只有信用交易是1000块钱的话，那你在那天你会记录应收账款借方，然后销货收入贷方，好，这就没有问题。那如果这个客户他没有要拿这个2% 的折扣呢，他60天到他才付钱的话，那就欠多少，收多少嘛。所以你就收到现金，然后冲销 AR 这部分。Then the important date is the third one. Okay, on November 27th, which means that with the 10th day of the November 12th. Okay, in that case, be careful here. You offset the total amount of accounts receivable from debit to credit, $1,000, but you can only receive cash with $980. What happened to $20? Because you gave your customer some sales discount. So here you cannot this is the one, original one. And if you have sales discount, you need to write it on. You cannot directly write off the sales. 知道吗？ 这边 the reason why it needs instead of using offset of the sales from credit to sales, but it needs to show the account of sales discount because for the reason we just mentioned, when you are doing the financial statement, you need to show the number over here, sales discount, in order to let management people to analyze the credit policy, which is proper or not. So never directly offset your sales, okay? 这边为什么不直接冲销像进货一样？当我们有进货的时候，进货推回进货折让，我就直接冲销我的那个存货就好了。那为什么我们这边不能够直接冲销货？因为我们会计上希望知道这个宝贵的资讯，来决定我的信用折扣这个政策是对的还是不对的 ，OK？ 所以 we have to keep on the sales discount. So another thing you need to remember, since the sales account discount is the contract account of the sales, 因为销货折扣是用来减销货的 ，OK？ So the normal balance for sales is on credit. So of course, sales discount, the normal balance is on debit. OK？ 所以有的时候你忽然讲到，销货折扣，那到底要10倍吗？它到底是借方还是贷方啊？你当然可以10倍啦。但是如果你用逻辑性去记，你就不会错。为什么呢？因为我们都知道5大项里面的销货收入是属于权益类，所以它是在正常余额在贷方。那如果发生任何销货折扣，一定是销货收入的减嘛。刚刚我们在讲，它才会达到那个净销货收入嘛，所以它一定是跟贷方的相关是借方嘛。所以这样的情况下，你都不用去10倍，你就会知道说 ，the purpose for the sales discount is to deduct the sales. So definitely the normal balance should be on the debit. 所以销货折扣既然是销货的减项，它当然就在借方，借方不要去强记的东西，因为你现在才学这几个会计科目，你每一样都用10倍的话，那你后面的如果你还继续学会计，那不都没完没了嘛？所以一定是还是 focusing on 的5大类，你会发觉我给你们讲的概念。Just try to understand the normal balance for the 5 category: assets, liability, equity, revenue, and expenses. As long as you know the definition for these 5 categories, no matter how many extra new accounts coming up, then you won't get confused. You will definitely, identify whether they should go to debit or they should go to credit. 这就是会计的奥秘。它不应该是用10倍的，不应该是用10倍。Okay, so here is the one. Let's go to your question again. Oh, here not yet. Okay, we should put more. Okay. So we are talking about sales discount. Then we're moving to sales returns and allowances. These two are similar to purchase return and allowances. If you have the solid goods physical item return, we call that sales return. If you offer the price, the discount, then we say that sales allowances. Okay, sales allowances, you only need to give the memo. You don't return any goods to the purchaser does not need to return anything back. Okay, so here is the example. The company sales originally, we had the example before, $2,400 and had a cost of $1,600. Assume the customer return part of the merchandise. Okay, amount $1,600, it returns certain part of the item. The return item, if the sales price is $800 and the cost is $600, okay, for the return items. 好，那现在公司当初卖2400，成本1600，那现在部分退回，那退回商品的售价当初是800块，那当初的成本是600块。So here is the entry here. You put on sales return and allowances together. Okay, 我们用一个会计科目就好了。Okay, then you offset your accounts receivable, which means you don't need to collect the whole $800. Okay, so here I put emphasis here. Do not write off sales directly. Just like the one for sales discount, you do not write off the sales discount directly from the sales. Lisa, why you have the face? You get it? Follow okay? So you create new account, which is sales return and the allowances, which is also on the debit. And here you need to write off the related accounts receivable. Okay? And same time, remember here, when you sell something, you need to record two parts. One is related to the sales. Another one is related to the cost of goods sold and the merchandise. So here, when they return to you, you also need to offset the something. Okay, they return the cost 600 to you, so you put it back to your warehouse, which is the merchandise inventory. 人家把货退还给你，你是不是要放回你的仓库？然后你的存货是不是要加回这个金额，对不对 ？Then originally you record the cost of goods sold. Actually, they are not sold. You need to put the original offset from the debit to credit. Okay, just reverse the position， 把那个位置颠倒就好了。但唯一不能颠倒的是销货收入。当初你是借应收账款带销货收入嘛，那你现在不能够 offset sales，but you need to offset sales return and allowances. Okay, so this is the sales return. 知道吗？当你 return, which means you receive the goods, then you put it back to the warehouse. So in that case, you need to go back to your merchandise inventory account number, add it up, and you have to reduce the cost of goods sold. So here, this is the one about sales return. But for the next one, it's different. Because the next one is sales allowances. Why is different? Allowances means you keep the goods. I will give you the discounts for the price. You don't need to return to me. In that case, for sales allowances, you only record the something related to the accounts receivable. You don't need to put it back to your inventory and the cost of goods sold. 注意到你的销货折账有什么不一样吗？ For the return, you need to record both sides. For the allowances, you only need to record the accounts receivable. Okay, that's the difference. 如果你今天是记录销货折账的话，因为当初人家给你抱怨那个销货有瑕疵，那你说好，那我给你一些折扣，你就不用把货退回来。因为没有把货退回来，当你发生销货折账的时候，你就不必记录存货要放回去，然后销货成本要减掉，因为它货品没有退回来。OK， 但如果是销货退回的话，因为货品有退回，所以呢，那个存货和销货成本你都必须要去 update 它。Okay, that's the difference between sales return and the sales allowances. Okay, 到现在 Okay, I think we are pretty much to the whole things. Okay, so this is the one. So after that, you have sales. You record the sales discount. You combine the return and allowance within one account. Then you get the net sales. Net sales. So discount, return, and allowances are the contract accounts of the sales, which means they should put on the debit side because they should be the reverse opposite to the up sales. Sales is on credit. 所以销货折扣、销货退回、销货折让都是将来用来减销货收入的。那销货收入因为是贷方，那它就必须要相反的借方。所以只要发生销货折扣、销货退回、销货折让，它们的位置都是在借方。好，用逻辑去推，好，你就不用死背。Okay, so this is about sales. Okay, so after that, you need to close something. This is it's only actually the idea for period 1 and period 2. See this one? Only want to let you know whenever there's an ending inventory, when you move to the next period, they become beginning inventory. Okay, ending go to beginning, ending go to beginning. Okay, so cost of goods sold and also the sales is related to the income statement, and all the inventory is about the balance sheet. Okay, so that's give you the idea. To give you the idea. So also for the adjusting entry, I think that's the last part for today's class. Okay, so we mentioned that for perpetual inventory system, 永续存货制, it needs to always update whenever you sell something. You need to update not just the sales, but also the status of your inventory. 你每卖批货，不仅是记录你的销货收入，随时要更新你的存货情形。Okay, so till the end, you supposedly should have the balance for your ending inventory, balance of your ending inventory, 期末存货的余额。But however, we need to do physical count again. So that's why at the end of the almost usually last day, probably I think couple years ago, when the last day you go to visit the department store, normally the department store will be open, I think 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something. But now they are doing the physical count during the midnight. So you think you are sleeping, but the people working for department store the last few days, they need to work till very late because what? They are doing the physical count. 那百货公司你以为没有人在做这个盘点嘛？当然有，他们半夜做。Or after the close at 10 o'clock in the evening, then for the whole night, they need to every month doing the physical count. 每月都要在百货公司要做盘点一次。What that for? They want to confirm the real balance of the inventory. Okay, 他们要确认存货的最后价钱。But normally but if they maintain very well 2 numbers, the real number should be matched with the computer number. But what about not? Okay, so could be any reason. So could be for the adjustment to update the merchandise. Okay, to reflect if there's any loss of the merchandise. What is loss? Sometimes coming from people stealing something because of the theft. Okay, and sometimes like the fresh item, it can go bad. We call that deterioration. Okay, so for any reason, the number we call that shrinkage. Okay, shrinkage is a loss of inventory. Loss of inventory. Could it be possible? My computer system is showing $1,000, but after that, my real inventory going to $1,100, more than that. Okay, then that's why we call any gain, not loss. We still have to follow the real number, okay, physical count number. But most of the time, it's with the less than the computer number. Then we say that those things are inventory loss. Okay, inventory loss. Okay, loss means the real count number is less than the computer number. Okay, so that's why. But so that's finally. You still need to base on your financial statement. The inventory should be based on the real numbers. Okay. So if that's the difference or the gap, then we need to do some adjusting entries. I think that takes a while. We stop here. So we complete the purchasing side. We complete the selling side for all the concept or the possibility for return. Then you should know how to do the entry for both sides. Okay. Please keep bringing this paper with you next time. We need to complete the old questions for the following. Okay. All right. So if you have completed, write on your name and your number and get back to me. You don't need to do the in-class note anymore. Okay, but this is the one you're supposed to do in the class.